Good evening. Welcome to the Town of Cicero Planning Board meeting. Would you please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance? Jim, will you lead us off, please?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First order of business is the minutes from the March 4th meeting. Any questions or comments? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second. Jim?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Minutes have been passed. And now we will open the meeting to public comment. If there's anybody in the audience that would like to address the board on any active application, you can do so now. Given nobody's approach, we'll close the public input and move on to the first agenda item. This is to schedule a public hearing for a subdivision, and it's property at 6225 East Taft Road. The applicant here? We're just setting a public hearing. Yeah, all right. Neil, would you propose a motion to set the date for the public hearing, please?
I'm going to move for adoption of resolution calling for a public hearing in matter known as 6225 East Taft Road, LLC, 6225 East Taft Road, 2 lots, re-subdivision club, lot number 1, proposed park. This public hearing shall commence at 6:30 p.m. or sooner after, as the matter may be heard at the regular scheduled meeting of the planning board on Wednesday, April 1st, 2024.
Thank you. And would somebody like to make that a motion?
I'll make that a motion.
And do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Jim?
Yes.
Chuck?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Zach?
Yes.
And I vote yes. Public hearing has been set. Next item on the agenda is site plan review. This is a continuation for a Bolton Savings Bank at 5480 and 5500 Bartel Road.
We're back.
Welcome back. Good, thank you. How you doing?
This is Pam Caracoli. She's the president of Bolton Savings Bank.
Welcome.
Heavy hitters tonight.
Yeah, right.
Welcome.
You have all the stuff we submitted. Majority of the items were Mark's comments, and say the first 8 or 10 were relative to coordinating notes and dates and all that kind of stuff. So we went through all those. We did all that stuff. So we should be pretty well up to date on the note part. Then the next item was regarding the potential sidewalk. I'm going to get to that after I finish his other 3 items that he had. One was the material lengths and slopes on the storm system, which our engineers put on. We needed the cut sheets and the light fixtures, even though we had them. But the issue was the foot candle level under the canopy. And there is a New York State ATM law, which I'm sure everybody is familiar with, that gives you minimums of foot candle level. We obviously exceeded those minimums, but in the law, it says we must conform with zoning and planning requirements. I tried to find in your zoning and planning where it told us the exact foot candle levels. I couldn't find it. That doesn't mean it doesn't exist. I just couldn't find it. So I'm assuming that what Mark told us is your limit. So we redid the plans to make sure that whatever lighting we have on the canopy will not exceed the 12-foot candle recommendation that he made. So we should be good there, and our new drawings reflect all of that. And there were no comments from the MDR last time. And my discussion with Steve was that their only concern was, are we doing a sidewalk? Or are we not doing the sidewalk? Otherwise, they're okay with the building. So we should be good there. So the sidewalk is the last issue in our estimation that's on the agenda. We did go to the owner. We asked you, we told the owner, you requested us to put the sidewalk there. I worked with Steve to say, where's the best place for this? Because it wasn't supposed to be in the right of way, wanted to be on her property. So we showed the 145 feet of the piece that we're leasing on her property, and it's right there next to the, right here, next to the road, and the yellow line right there. So that's the proposed new sidewalk. It obviously has nothing to do with what we're doing on the site itself with the building and the parking and whatnot. So it just sticks out, just stands out there at the end of the parcel. So there it is. We talked to her. Her answer was probably pretty obvious. She said she didn't want to do the sidewalk. And I think for maybe a couple reasons. One, cost. It's not in the bank's lease to do this sidewalk. The bank will do the sidewalk if it's really necessary, but the issue gets to be whose liability is this since it's on her property, you know, a whole bunch of other maintenance issues. Two, is she going to be required to extend the sidewalk east and west? If you go back to the SMTC's plan, they always showed the sidewalk in the right of way of the road. This is out of the right of way of the road. Don't know what the reason or rationale for that is, but it is. Also, when you look at their plan, they're showing, here's our building. They're showing this sidewalk being extended past the residential area. You can't physically get past the residential area until you go back out into the road right away. So I'm not sure what the overall grand scheme of this sidewalk is going to be. But we showed it on our plan. I guess we're saying to you, that this is absolute must on your part, and you know, we'll do it, and then we'll argue with the owner about how we handle the cost of it. If it's just a recommendation, like that reflected and possibly not put it in now. I don't know how this great plan goes together here, but you know, under their proposal, they're closing the entrance, proposing closing the entrance to the plaza, proposing closing the entrance to the restaurant, and creating a new entrance right in front of the bank. But we've known that in November, maybe we could have gone and made a different deal with the owner to reposition the building. It's going to be like a roadway coming right into the bank. Visually, I'm not sure it's going to be such a great thing. You're going to drive in and bam, there's going to be the bank. You're going to have to go left or right to make that all happen. I'm sure it's just a plan, a grandiose type plan, but it is on paper. So how much of it you have to take into consideration, I don't know. That's on your shoulders and your recommendation. So we completed everything you've asked us to do. With or without the sidewalk, we'd like a vote tonight. If there isn't anything else going on to make this all happen. And, you know, like I say, we did speak to the owner, spoke to her attorney, had an email from her. I put that in the report. And now we're at your beck and call to say, where do we go next?
So I'm just one vote, right? And it's up to a majority of the board of what happens relative to the project. In I call it a vision, what, you know, they're talking about moving the entrance, sidewalk up and down the entire thing. And our objective is to meet that vision as much as possible. And that would include getting a sidewalk from Route 11 all the way down. Whether some of it's in right of way or some of it's on the private property, that'll play out as time goes by. Ideally, like I had mentioned last time, it would have been awesome to get this entire site sidewalked. But I was being nice and said that if you can't do it, you can't do it. I think it should go on this parcel, the lease parcel, and that's what you're showing from my perspective. So we'll open it to questions. Jim, you want to just sidewalk and then anything else?
Yeah, I agree. I'd at least like to see some sidewalk.
So what they have right now is on their leased portion.
145 feet, 700 plus.
Any chance it can be extended somewhat?
Well,
You're not gonna,
we're going to be responsible for it. We got a
for what
10-year
you lease.
10-year
Yes, I understand.
And what happens when we're done in 10 years? This may not be a profitable venture for the bank. I'm hoping that it is. They're hoping that it is. But we're going to be, if we're gone, then somebody else has got to take on that responsibility. If it's a McDonald's or whatever the building becomes, you know, the liability of the site.
And just to be clear, we have a right to look at the entire site, not the lease portion, but the entire site. It's a parcel. So we can say, no, we want the entire thing. Or we can settle for something in between.
Would be nice, you know, to see more than there is, but, you know, at least there's some sidewalk.
Could I ask you a question?
Sure.
So I think the thing that I think that we're kind of struggling with is the SMTC inset that Joe provided.
Yes.
Is pretty far away from our bank leased property. So they've got it right up close to the roadway in the right of way. Why wouldn't that be the preferred location all the way down, as it would in any community? I mean, why
You made that
would-
decision in conversation with Steve to put it in the property, on
Well,
the property?
uh,
We do both. We've done both.
The problem with right of way, and that can be done in a right of way.
Yeah.
It's a drainage area, so.
So this works
may
better
have
for
to
you.
build in,
This works better for you, putting it on your parcel.
It's beyond our lease line.
Yeah, we don't even lease the
We only
right of way
lease to the
portion.
property line.
So then ideally for you, the best answer is what you're showing with it on your leased property.
The ideal thing is not.
Well, it depends on your perspective. You know, we've dealt with sidewalk a lot in the community, and we've done it piece by piece before. And then sometimes the state comes in and does road work, and then they put sidewalk in. It's just a vision that we need to work on as we,
The county road is, that correct?
yes.
Yeah.
Steve is saying yes.
So is the county involved somehow in,
Not if it's not in their, not if it's not in, you know, if it's on your parcel.
okay, but let's suppose we say the best spot for it is in the right of way.
Yeah, then you gotta go back to the drawing board. We don't vote tonight.
I want you to vote tonight.
Mm.
Whatever it's gonna take.
I mean, the bank is willing to do what needs to be done. It's just not our property to decide to add this, you know, improvement or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, I understand that. So then the landlord has to decide what, if anything, they want to do to get you as their tenant. That you may be required to do according to the municipality.
But I think what, you know, we would envision then is a sidewalk that begins and ends to nowhere, you know, like it just would be sitting there. And so your vision then is that at some point it would continue, you know, in piecemeal or, you know,
Correct.
somehow.
And we have done that.
But I guess we're at your mercy, whatever you want, tell us.
Jim, we're still with you.
Huh? Yeah, I mean, at least what you got, it would be good if there was more, but, you know.
I agree.
I'd like to see a little anyway, and down the road, figuratively, it might be some more. But then, like you say, when the lawyers get involved, liability,
It's another issue,
absolutely.
because we're not adding any lighting out there either, so. I don't know if on a foot candle level, this meets Mark's requirements.
Don't give us ideas.
And
They'll let us know.
if they continue it to the east, so you know, right into her billboard sign. So somebody's gonna. have
They
to
got
move-
bulldozers.
Somebody's gonna have to move it either into the right of way or around her sign, you know? So I'm just little things. There a sign up there?
Yeah, I saw it.
Whatever you want, it's your decision. You tell us, and the bank would be more than happy to do what they can do on our lease parcel. If that's a requirement of the project, so be it. And even though the landlord doesn't like it, we have to do it. But after it leaves here, let's say you say, yes, we want it, and you give us approval. I don't know what's gonna happen then. Whose lawyer is gonna show up where, you know? But just so you know,
Yeah, that's out of our,
out of your
Realm.
purview.
Mary?
So when we did the strategic plan for the town and we surveyed all the people in the town of Cicero, the one thing they said is they wanted better walkability of the town. And this was, I think, where this originated from. And you have to start somewhere.
But why doesn't the town do the sidewalks and then increase the taxes?
That isn't what the town residents want. Increase taxes.
No,
Not for this board, right?
Hmm.
But you had said, because another thing that came out of that, those meetings, they wanted less curb cuts. So that's where they were looking to have just like main entrance ways to retail spaces. And so were you saying that that was going to be right where we're proposing to put?
See our building?
Yeah.
You go directly north and that rounded.
So right where we want the sidewalk.
It's that gray strip at the
Yeah.
top.
If they go through and you do what their planning board or what the master planners are proposing,
Mhm.
they take that sidewalk out. Because now it becomes roadway data. So 50 feet of it is going to be gone after we put it all in, if that gets to be. I can't imagine in the near future that they're going to close the plaza, close the restaurant entrance, create, design wise and planning wise, this is a great idea. Where were we 30 years ago when they allowed the plaza to
Right.
put this other entrance in? You know, we're a little behind the times here, but if you're going to do that, then yes, we're gonna put the sidewalk in, we're gonna take it out and make it mechanical.
and it doesn't necessarily have to go right where they're showing it. That's just a vision,
Okay.
and it probably won't.
Yeah, probably. I mean, it makes sense though, because that's the only piece of the parcel where there isn't a building. We're putting a building there now because it was empty.
Right.
If that was the entryway.
Right,
And
exactly.
if you knew back in November that, yes, we're gonna have this entryway, we should be planning this someplace else, and then you may have negotiated a whole different deal, but kind of too late now.
Yeah, that's good planning in an ideal world. We have to deal with what we have in place already. Yeah.
So it's up to you.
Mary, anything else?
No, but I think we have to go with what we know right now and start somewhere with sidewalk.
Zach?
I'm all set. Thank you.
Will we get them?
Probably,
Probably. Yes or no?
but probably yes. I'm suspecting. Judy?
Well, it's gonna be my question, in regards to the proposed entryway. And I'm very familiar with that property. Are they going to continue to have the rear entrance by the bank off of Route 11? They're gonna leave that?
Yes,
Yeah, none of the entryways are changing.
Right, the only one, so the other two. Again, as Mary had mentioned, the thought of it is the sidewalk goes in and they go through with their proposal and they rip it out because the entryway would be what, 16 feet, 20 feet?
It probably would go in a different location once the bank is there. So that you're looking at a technical bulletin from SMTC. It's not anything that's.
Oh, all right, I wondered
Yeah.
where, where they came from.
Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
So that's where we're proposing our building. This is
Yeah.
where they're.
okay,
proposing
oh, I see that, okay,
directly across from the other. plan,
right.
Which makes a ton of planning.
And hope they're gonna put a light in there too.
Well, they got crosswalks going everywhere.
Mm.
Oh, I know, but I drive that road,
But see, they're even proposing cutting out MVPs and
yeah,
making it all come off of Route
okay,
11, which also makes sense because that's
Mm.
farther away from the intersection.
yeah,
I mean, not to say it wasn't a bad plan, just that we're so far down the road now that I don't know how you can implement that plan without.
exactly.
Major change. So,
Well, again, because of the vision and having walking, especially in Burton, because those plazas are very busy. I would recommend some sidewalk myself. I see too many people walking in the street and there's a lot of mobile wheelchairs out there. So, thank you.
Thank you. Steve?
there are grants for bike paths. I mean, they're doing them everywhere. I don't know how this falls into the whole grant world, but you know, you think that there'd be a grant. you know,
We tried and we weren't selected, but we'll try again in the future.
Steve,
I'm all set. Thank you.
Neil, Mark.
Mark, do we have any more comments on the new submission?
Are we? Yeah, I'm gonna ask a question. Are we all set with the lease being delineated?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, we're
so
good.
we're gonna vote tonight. I'm gonna make a motion for our standard seeker. Do we have a second?
Second.
Jim,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes,
Zach,
Yes.
and I vote yes for the seeker. It passes. Neil, would you propose a motion for approval, please?
Yes, you're gonna move the adoption of of a resolution approving the site plan application of this Open Savings Bank 5480 and 5500 Archel Road, proposed retail bank office, for which the condition on the following: one, proposed being friendly and other elevations is presented by the applicant to the planning board in regards to this application shall be incorporated by reference into the site plan and proposed approval bank up. Accordingly, the actual project must substantially conform to the items that presented herein. Two, in accordance with the recommendations of the Transportation Council and this planning board, the applicant is required to install sidewalks as currently denoted on the plan.
And would somebody like to make that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
And do we have a second?
second,
Jim,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mary,
yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and I vote yes. You're all set. Congratulations. Welcome to the town of Cicero.
Thank you.
Move on to the next item. This is a continuation of a public hearing for a subdivision for Micron, New York Semiconductor Manufacturing at 8533 Brewerton Road. Good evening. Welcome back.
Good evening. Thank you, John Sid again on behalf of Micron. I don't have much to say, frankly. We've addressed all of the questions and concerns. The town engineer has reviewed the revised subdivision map and approved. We're aware the town will have a condition that those 3 drainage easements that are now depicted on the map will also be documented in a separate easement to be recorded at the county clerk's office. That has been drafted. I gave Neil a copy to review tonight. Still being reviewed by the owner, the New York State lineman, so it may not be in final form, but Neil will review and approve the final form.
And the county provided their review. You've seen that.
I have, yes, thank you.
We'll open the questions. I'm also Jim,
I'm good.
Chuck,
Yes, am I.
Mary,
All set.
Zach.
So, thank you.
I am as well. Judy, any questions?
All set.
Neil, do you want to propose the seeker, please?
I think we left
I'm
the
sorry.
public hearing open.
Oh, yeah. I said that. So nobody's going to approach it. Anybody want to comment on the public hearing? Given nobody's approached, we will close the public hearing. Neil, would you please do the seeker?
We're gonna move for the adoption of a resolution approving the following resolution and finding of facts in regard to Article 8 of the Environmental Conservation Law of the state of Pennsylvania. One, the subdivision of the property is required to enable the construction of Micron Semiconductor Manufacturing project, the project which was the type 1 action for the purpose of the state environmental review act. Two, the town planning board of the town of Cicero was involved. It was an involved agency, and the Onondaga County Industrial Development Agency, OSIDA, was the seeker lead agency for the seeker review of the infant project. Three, OSIDA issued a positive review of the project on or around September 14th, 2023. The determination that the environmental impact statement EIS must be prepared with respect to the entire project, and on or about June 25th, 2025, OSIDA accepted the draft EIS as complete and ready for review. Four, November 7th, 2025, so the determined that the final EIS was complete, and the agency issued a determination of secret findings on November 18th, 2025. Five, town planning board finds that the subdivision of the property will not create any additional environmental impacts beyond those that were studied by the OSIDA's seeker EIS process. Six, the town planning board as seeker involved agency for the project having considered OSIDA's DEIS and FEIS and its findings have weighed and balanced the relevant environmental impacts with social, economic, other essential considerations as required by 6 New York RR 6 617.11 hereby certifies that A, the subdivision of the property will not create a significant environmental effect beyond those were assessed through the DAS and FEIS, and such effects were adequately addressed from those documents. B, the requirements of Part 6 NYCRR have been met, and C, consistent with social, economic, and other essential considerations from among reasonable alternatives available. The proposed subdivision is one that which avoids or minimize adverse environmental impact and the adverse environmental impacts to the maximum extent practical, and any adverse environmental impacts will be avoided or minimized to the maximum extent practical by incorporating those mitigation measures that were identified in the site's finding for the project, and no additional measures or considerations are required by the town planning board or subdivision. 7, for the reasons and those identified by the site's FEIS and findings which were adopted and incorporated by reference, and reasons discussed during the town planning board's consideration of the action, these findings constitute the town planning board's written statement of facts and environmental, social, economic, and other factors and standards that form the basis of the decision pursuant to section 617.11D of the Cicero regulations. That is in the form.
Can you repeat that?
And what was that?
I'll make that a motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Jim,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
I'll vote yes. Can you please
New York, LLC, 8533 Burton Road, 2 lots, New York State, lot, the city planning the following subdivision is approval strictly based on the following. 1, the applicant is hereby advised that pursuant to section 185(6) subdivision of the code, the applicant has 90 days from the approval to file the map. If the map has been missed the 90-day filing deadline, this approval will have expired. 2, the plan requires easements on lot 1 to accommodate the previously approved stormwater management area, which now encompasses both lot 2. Said easements will allow for stormwater from the outlet of the storm management area to lot 2 to discharge to a discharge point from lot 1, and also any portion of the stormwater facilities that are on lot 1. Every one of the easements, the advance documents have been presented to the for approval to the planning board attorney, and I have approved the same. Any modifications of those that may happen, I'm sure you will have to present them for approval. But the document as presented was acceptable. Finally, you have to file those easements either prior to or concurrent with the filing of the map. Lastly, the evidence is further notified by the chairman of the planning board may delay signing of the final plan until the chairman verifies that the evidence exercise any and all necessary means for the town, and also security and things are in place.
Thank you. And would somebody like to make that a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
Jim,
Yes.
Chuck,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Zach,
Yes.
and I vote yes. You're all set. You're welcome. Have a good night. Next item on the agenda, this applicant is my nephew, so I'm going to be recusing myself. The vice chair, Jim Duval, will be conducting the meeting. Jim, you can stay there. And Judy Boyke as our ad hoc will come up and be the 5th vote.
Hey, Steve. I wasn't sure you were back there. You show Blaine? Huh? Did you show Blaine?
No, don't worry, I know better.
Good to go?
Yep. Go ahead.
Good evening, Steve Calcerinos Engineering, here representing Marzullo Landscaping at 9160 Brewerton Road. This is an existing site that had a site plan previously approved a number of years ago for the addition of a small, a building addition to an existing building that was on the site. That building addition is shown on the map right here. This is the former addition in the existing building. Those are there now. There is also gravel parking area pretty much all the way around that building. There is a stormwater management pond that was built in here. That has not been approved or accepted by the town yet. The SWIP that was involved in that project was actually terminated by the DEC last year as part of their regulation change. So that's some of the items that we're dealing with here, and I'll talk about that as we go along. But what is being proposed, this is a overall 2-acre parcel. There is an existing water service that was installed as part of the last site plan approval, as well as electric line coming into the existing building. It's a pole barn. It's got, I think, 3 or 4 overhead doors. It's just used for cold storage and maintenance associated with the landscaping business that Mr. Marzullo has. So he has materials and equipment that are stored there throughout the year. And then again, stores equipment in the winter time that he does not use throughout the winter associated with the business. So the addition is a 140-foot by 80-foot building at the rear of the property. I know the original application, I believe I noticed, showed 135 by 80. Originally, that's what was proposed, but he changed it to add a few feet because we did have the room, provide additional space. So that's the actual proposed addition is 140 by 80. We are also proposing parking, more defined parking on the site, as well as a paved driveway. And then a septic system is being proposed right here that'll serve this building. There's going to be a single bathroom in there to serve that building. And that's something we have to go through the health department for approval for. We have not done the perk tests on the property yet. That's something we have to do. So that's still in the process, that aspect of the project. But we have, estimated worst case scenario, the size of the system, and what's shown on the plan is most likely what's going to be installed and approved by the county health department. We are working with Aqua on showing a water service from the existing water service to this building being brought back to the proposed building. We're just working with Aqua on what they're going to require for a configuration with that. The existing building does have backflow prevention on the water service to it, so that has already been addressed. What the requirements for the new building are going to be, we're working with Aqua on. Additionally, again, there is going to be a bathroom, so there's going to be sewers. There's going to be a septic tank right out in front in the parking lot and a pump tank that's going to pump up to the septic field right there. And we are proposing as part of this project to replace the entire stormwater management system along the northern property boundary. That is for two reasons. Based on the DEC's language in their old permit, if the permit was terminated by the DEC because they did not receive a request for continuation or continued coverage, any project moving forward, if it was not approved and accepted, would have to be designed to the current design standards. So that's one of the reasons why we have to provide stormwater management for the proposed additions. But to make it all work to today's standards and work a little bit better for the property owner, we're proposing an entirely new system. The existing pond that's there now, the bottom of it's going to be filled in. We're going to do perk tests. We have done test holes to assess the soil conditions underneath the facility, but we need to do perk tests as well as part of the design requirements. This is going to be an infiltration basin, what we're proposing. So it'll end up, rather than being a small pond with water in it all the time, as is now proposed, it'll be a dry facility most of the year. It'll get water in it and it'll sit, with water in it for a few days after heavy rain events. But after that, it's intended that it'll dry up. We are currently not proposing any site lighting. There will be wall packs on the building, security lighting on the building. If it's something that the town is kind of adamant about, we can consider that and take a look at that. Maybe put a site lighting pole up out in the parking lot. But we anticipate everything around the proposed building will be taken care of by wall packs that are on the outside. The building is intended to be private. The owner is building it because he has 3 daughters and they're all active in sports and they all struggle to find places for their teams to practice and train. So what he wants to do is have a place where those teams, whether it's through the school district, Cicero or Syracuse, or club sports, have access to a training facility that's closely associated with the school district, but not total. It's not generally going to be open to the public. They're not going to advertise, hey, bring your teams here and practice, but it is going to be open to a handful of different teams that are associated with the district. So, whether that holds any weight with the town or not, I don't know. I mean, it's hard to say what happens if somebody sells this place and they decide they want to open up to everybody. You've got to consider that. But right now, that's the proposal, is that it'll be limited to teams associated with the school district and with the owner. And it's going to be used for indoor. It's going to have an artificial turf inside and a batting cage. So it'll be used for indoor field hockey, like football, baseball with a batting cage, that kind of training. We are providing parking on the site for the proposed facility. The town, I don't believe, has a specific parking requirement code, number of spaces based on different types of uses, but I believe we're providing 35 or 36 spaces on the site. Throughout the spaces right along the front of the building, and then the spaces along the northern property. And again, there's an existing gravel parking lot up here. We're intending to keep the gravel at the front of the existing building. That's still going to be used and maintained for landscaping business. But we are going to pave the driveway, drive aisle up to the rear building, and then all the parking spots. That's what's being proposed right now. There is a sidewalk that's being proposed as well along the front of the building. Don't show any landscaping. I'd be lying if I told you the owner didn't want to do it. He's a landscaper, so he could certainly do that. But again, the area that this building is in, it's an industrial area. There's a used car lot / junkyard to the south. And then to the north, I don't exactly recall what the business was there, but there's a lot of different businesses, different uses, all up and down Route 11 in that area. None of them really have any kind of landscaping, at least in this area, but you can certainly add landscaping to the site. Whether it's up front or at the building, it's up to the discretion of the board if they want us to take a look at certain areas, but putting it back at the building, it's a few hundred feet away from the road. Nobody's really going to see much of it. But we can look at that. And that's really the bulk of what's going on here. We do meet all the requirements as far as maximum coverage on the site. We are within all the setbacks for the site. So everything is really, we're not looking for any variances or anything.
Okay, you all set?
I'm all set.
Okay, I'll open it up for questions. I'll do it a little different because of the way we're seated. We'll start with Judy.
Aren't you
I'll just
cute?
come down the line.
Okay. First of all, clarify, it is industrial,
Well, the zoning is general commercial.
general.
So it's
commercial.
commercial, yeah.
Okay. I'm familiar with the area, and since you haven't had it perked yet, I know that several other businesses have raised beds for septic systems over there.
Mhm.
Are you aware of that?
Yeah, I've done another site down the road from here. We have a raised bed on that site as well. I've done a raised bed in the area before, so we are aware, and I've advised the owner what he's likely going to get into, and I've told him he's going to need a pump to
Okay.
pump up to whatever septic system he has.
Right, okay. You say the building is proposed to be a private building. So in other words, he won't be holding any events, any competition events or?
To the best of my knowledge, he's not proposing to do that. I don't think he's even proposing any kind of advertising or signage out at the road. He really is just looking for an option for the teams that he's involved in to not have to struggle to look for places to find field time or facilities to practice. But again, anything can happen down the road, and I know the town has to consider, okay, what if he wants
That's
to-
why I asked about the zoning as well. Let me think. Is there anything else? The parking for general commercial, Steve, don't we have regulations for that?
there isn't a parking
that.
standard. It's just a general engineering practice or based on the use, right?
Okay.
So, yeah.
We did a very generic, count. And I think the ratio is shown on the plan. I think it was one parking spot per 500 square feet of floor area. And we applied that to both buildings. And I think we came up with 32 or 34, and we have more than that on the site.
So there would be room for his employees, for his landscape business along with,
There would be room for them, but really, he doesn't have a lot of employees that park there for the landscape business. They all drive their own cars to their sites. They come here if they've got to pick up a piece of equipment and take it to a site, but beyond that, there's really not a lot of employees that are there that use the site to park other than himself
okay,
and service tech.
thank you, I'm all set.
You're good? Okay, Zach?
I definitely think there needs to be some landscaping popped in there. The board tends to lean towards more landscaping than less. So I think we should probably stick to those asks of the
Would it be beneficial for the board to see that more up front, closer to the road so that, I mean, again,
yeah,
out in the back where the new building is, nobody's gonna ever see that. And then the people on 81 are gonna see the backside of the building, which is just gonna be open lawn area. But we can certainly pop some landscaping in the front.
yeah, I think making it look nice from the road is not gonna hurt anything. Also pop some trees in back.
Sure.
Would still be nice. I think for right now, I think I'm good for tonight. Go over more next time you come back.
Mary?
So I am familiar with Coach Marzullo. He coached my son. So, and I do know there's a need to find places to practice and things. I just am concerned of having that in the same place as, like, is there any dangerous chemicals for the landscaping business?
Not that
Near
I'm
there.
aware of. I mean, I can ask him and he can let me know, for the next
Keep it
meeting. or-
separate. I don't even know if this ever been done. I mean, is this something that is okay to do? But it's a private building.
I mean, everything related to the landscape business is indoors, with the exception of maybe a piece of equipment that might be outside, stored next to the building, but everything else is stored indoors. He acknowledged that he's had other, friends that have used the facility to store things or to temporarily, use for their businesses or their activities. He said everybody is being tossed out. This is going to be strictly for his landscaping business and then the athletic business in the back. They are going to be totally separate. I would imagine any chemicals or anything that he has in storage, he's got to meet any, OSHA or other environmental regulations relative to the storage of those. And then as far as, visitors to the center, he estimated that probably no more than 30 at any given point in time. And a lot of those are going to be the kids. Some may drive, others are going to be dropped off by their parents. But it is just for the participants. Doesn't have any spectator facilities. So it's not like he's going to have, a handful of parents that are going to be there watching. It's strictly for the training.
Okay. So we do have design standards for new buildings, and you would have to comply with the design standards regardless of how close to the road it is.
Sure.
What about, is there a fire hydrant nearby? Do we have to worry about that?
So I did speak to Mr. Calcerinos about the necessity, from what I can tell, of an additional hydrant. He's, I believe, looking into that with Aqua already because the existing hydrants won't meet the distance requirements from the new building. And quite honestly, I'm not sure they do the existing building, but that might have been something that was overlooked originally. So that's answer to that question.
Also, do we need to have the ability for fire trucks to get in and out as well?
So you're asking my questions.
Yeah.
That's good. So if it's, yeah, so if there is in excess of 150 feet of apparatus access road, there will need adequate turnaround for a fire truck.
Yeah.
So that will also have to be looked at.
And also landscaping, I agree. That's part of our design standards as well. That's all I had right now.
Thank you.
Chuck?
I just had a couple of comments. Just wondering, they're not gonna be playing the actual games there just for
No.
training?
No
for
games,
Sport?
right, just training, and practice.
Would they be, you mentioned tying in with the schools, would that just be CNS or other schools in the area, you think?
Right now, he's really just trying to keep it limited to the people that he's involved with. He does coach in the school district and he has 3 girls that are involved in a variety of sports and he wants to just keep it limited to that. I'm sure if he's friends with a coach in a different school district, he may say, send your guys over if they want to, practice a little bit or whatever, but it's his intent again to keep it private. And, he wasn't able to make it tonight, but if he's able to make it at the next meeting, he can certainly speak more to that.
That'd be nice. And, this is obviously a sizable building. And I'm just curious on the roof construction. There's no center supports of any type.
He's working with RLS Structures. They are preparing the drawings for the facility, so that is something that he knows he's got to submit to the town as well.
So
So
I
I
assume
need
the-
to submit it as part of this package so that you guys can see, again, what the finishes on the exterior are going to be and what the roof looks like, and so that we can confirm the maximum height that we're proposing.
Yeah, look forward to getting more information.
All set?
Yep.
Okay, I'm good for right now. Steve?
Yeah, so we should really look into the occupancy classification and the occupancy load of the new building because you're proposing one bathroom facility. It may need 2, and then that would impact, I guess, your septic design. I think that's all. Also, we had to ask the other questions. Yeah.
The county requires all facilities have a minimum design criteria, which they have at 2 bathrooms. So it'll automatically be sized for 2 bathroom.
Thank you.
Okay, Neil?
All set.
Mark?
I'll say, we'll do a review. Work it to the comments.
Okay, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, that concludes our regular agenda for this evening. Does any of the team have any comments?
Well, I have a comment for Steve.
Oh, go.
Or some time ago, I brought to your attention on the corner of Thompson and Taft, that car dealership.
Mhm.
They put that A-frame sign and such,
Mm-hmm.
so it ruins your line of sight,
Yeah.
which made it dangerous, seriously.
Mm-hmm.
The signs had been moved.
Right.
I appreciate you're getting on him about that, but now he's parking the cars that are for sale as far as the sign were out. I mean, and I noticed because I go by there several times a day, a lot of times. And I got to get right out into Taft Road before I can
Okay.
safely continue.
Okay. No, we can look into that.
Okay.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you.
Any other comments?
Nope.
Okay, that concludes the meeting. If we have a motion to adjourn,
Motion to adjourn.
second?
Second.
Second.